Hello, thank you for joining us on CoreTV News at 7. I am Frank Omalape. President Goodluck Jonathan says the Nigerian military would soon regain all territory held by the terror group Boko Haram. The president says the military is now well equipped and within the next few weeks regain all lost territory under the control of the terror group. The president was speaking in Lagos at a meeting he had with traditional rulers in the Ekpa division of Lagos State, also assured them that his administration will continue to accord them the needed respect that they deserve. He also promised to complete all ongoing projects of his administration if he gets the second chance. Meanwhile, Nigeria's military authorities say troops have retaken the strategic northeast town of Baga from Boko Haram insurgents. The town, located on the fringes of Lake Chad, was the base of the multinational Joint Task Force until recently when insurgents took over the community alongside the military base. But Defense Headquarters on Saturday said through its Twitter feed that soldiers have pushed out the terrorists after a fierce battle. It noted that Boko Haram suffered heavy casualties and added that mapping up operations are ongoing in the community and surrounding areas. President Goodluck Jonathan says the federal government has invested about $8.26 billion in the power sector through the National Integrated Power Project and NIPP. Jonathan disclosed this at the inauguration of the 750 megawatts Olorun-Shogo 2 power station at Olorun-Shogo for local council area of Ogun State. Napoleon Moments report is presented from our studios.
The president, while speaking at the inauguration, explained a total of $650 million of the amount so far spent on the National Independent Power Project was committed to the Olorun-Shogo power plant.
The federal, states and local governments have so far committed about $8.26 billion on NIPP projects through the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, that is the popular NDPAC, out of which some $650 million was expended on the construction contract for this Olorun-Shogo power plant.
Jonathan added there are 10 other power projects ongoing across the nation, while also recalling that he inaugurated 2 in Kogi and Ondo State in the year 2014. The president expressed happiness over what he described as the continued delivery on his campaign promises, including that of reforming the power sector. The president pledged that the interface between the government and the private sector on the privatization of the power sector will be completed by year 2070 if voted into power.
When it transitional phase from 100% control of the power sector to 100% control of the private sector, this interface needs to be properly midwifed and managed. And that will not take us too long. In the next 2 years, this interface will be properly sealed and Nigerians will take the power.
He added the power plants in Kogi and Ondo states have been privatized while that of Olorun-Shogo is in the process of being privatized. Minister of Power Chinedu Nebo, in his remarks, says the commissioning of this power project is part of President Goodluck Jonathan's commitment to the development of the power sector.
Under your bold and courageous as well as purposeful leadership, the power sector has recorded major world-acclaimed landmarks in policy direction with the successful privatization of the generation and distribution subsectors and significant addition to power generation capacity with the completion of more NIPP projects.
He added the challenges facing the increased power generation that has led to the limitations in power supply is due to the activities of vandals.
President Goodluck Jonathan says a victory for the People's Democratic Party in the upcoming general elections will free Lagos residents from oppression. He made this known while speaking to leaders of market women groups known as the Alodges in Lagos and environs who were on a solidarity visit to him at the State House, Marina, Lagos. Jonathan, who was reacting to the complaints of high-handedness and witch-hunting made by the market women against the All Progressive Congress-led Lagos state government, says the PDP will provide the enabling environment for all traders in the country. He recommended the women for supporting his re-election bid and urged them not to be intimidated by their opponents. Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayushi on Friday alleged that the All Progressive Congress presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari will travel to the United Kingdom for a supposed working visit is in a London hospital. According to him, Buhari is being treated at a hospital located at Cavendish Street, Cavendish Square, WT, London West End, London. The governor said this had vindicated his earlier stand that Buhari was sick and lacked the required capacity to rule Nigeria. Speaking through his special assistant on public communications and new media, Larry Olayinka, the governor described the claim by the APC that Buhari will give a talk at the Royal Institute of International Affairs, Chatham House, London, as a deceit taken too far. He says he is not mocking Buhari or wishing him dead, but rather to expose the falsehood of the APC and desperation of its leaders, especially Senator Bola Tinubu, to foist another Yar'Adua saga on Nigeria. The governor challenged the APC to prove his rank. The National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Muhammad, however, said his party was not ready to join issues with unserious people, adding that those who are doubting General Muhammad Buhari's working visit could not be taken seriously and that they should prove it. Presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Muhammad Buhari, has held a phase of consultative meetings in his itinerary in the United Kingdom. Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair was the first personality Buhari held a closed-door meeting with as part of efforts to brief key members of the international community on his agenda for Nigeria. The APC candidate was accompanied by two leading members of the opposition party, Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosu and Senator Bukola Saraki. A party source said Buhari will be holding a series of private meetings with policymakers in the UK to disabuse their minds about his alleged autocratic Islamic tendencies. Meanwhile, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, Chatham House, has scheduled the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Muhammad Buhari, for Thursday, February 26. Spokesman for the party's presidential campaign team, Garba Shehu, says Chatham House will host the event and send out invite on Monday, February 23rd. He added in a statement as part of his ongoing engagement in the United Kingdom, General Buhari had an interview that appeared on a local program in London, the All Eyes on Africa TV show, with Kemi Fajudutimi, and met with Tony Blair on Saturday morning. Shehu disclosed that Buhari left the London residence of the Abuja of Ijebuland, Oba Sikiru Akayode Aditono, at about 1:30 p.m. UK time and returned to his rented flat in the city. Meanwhile, APC has appealed to President Goodluck Jonathan to court one of his party's governors, Ayo Fayushi of Ekiti State, to order over what it says is his continued pestering of General Buhari with falsehood and death wishes. The party claims that Governor Fayushi has hired people in London to trail the movements of its presidential candidate while on his working visit in London. It added that if anything should happen to Buhari in London or anywhere, it will hold the governor responsible. The ECOWAS Commission has been emphatic in cautioning members of the opposition party and the ruling PDP against acts inimical to peaceful election. This, according to President of the Commission, Kadri Odrago, is because of the importance of Nigeria to peace and stability in the sub-region. He told the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, in Abuja, ECOWAS and the rest of the world are looking forward to a trouble-free process.
We have decided to deploy an observer team of 250 observers for Nigeria, and we have decided to deploy a long-term observation mission. They indeed were deployed from 20th of January here in the 5 geostrategical zone of Nigeria. They came back on the 9th after the postponement of the elections, but we had a debriefing session with them. So they've made their observation and their recommendations, and we have decided to engage all the stakeholders to exchange views and to share their findings and their observation.
Encouraging. On our own part, even before the Abuja Accord, which Kofi Annan presided over, we made several statements to our supporters that we do not expect our real supporters to be rude, not even taking arms against anybody. We said that several times, even before that accord. And of course, after the accord, we continue to ask our supporters to show restraint under any provocation. And we have successfully toured 35 out of the 36 states. We have conducted at least, I think, 6 or so town hall meetings. Some were held independently of my attendance by the vice presidential candidate. Some by me in Lagos, Kano, here in Abuja, and the rest of the geopolitical zones. So we are really keeping on the contact with all Nigerians, and we intend to maintain this pressure until the election takes place.
Meanwhile, the ECOWAS Commission has reaffirmed its solidarity with Nigeria in its quest for free, fair, violence-free and credible general elections. This was the message delivered by the Commission's delegation led by its President, Kadri Ouedraogo, at separate meetings with key political stakeholders, including President Goodluck Jonathan, Muhammadu Buhari of the All Progressive Congress and Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission at Abuja. Speaking after an audience with President Jonathan at the presidential villa, the ECOWAS president said the commission will support Nigeria through a successful electoral process. He also stressed the need for a peaceful process and respect for the constitution while appealing to political parties, politicians and their supporters to play by the rule. During separate meetings with the APC candidate and the ANEC chairman, Ouedraogo also shared his observations of the ECOWAS long-term observation mission deployed across the nation before the elections were shifted to March 28 and April 11. The ANEC chairman promised to take on board the observations and recommendations of the regional long-term election observation mission towards ensuring free, fair, peaceful and credible general elections in Nigeria. And now the All Progressive Congress has expressed appreciation to the Nigerian military for its readiness to deploy troops for the March 28 and April 11 election, but says its service would not be required. It says the soldiers will be better utilized in other pressing areas, especially in the combat of insurgency and protection of the nation's territorial integrity. Party's presidential campaign team made its position known against the background of the assertion by ANEC chairman at Abuja that only 7 chiefs can guarantee the sanctity of the March 28, but the presidential election. The campaign team said in a statement issued by its spokesman Garba Shehu that the idea of having the military chiefs determine when elections will hold is a mockery of democracy. He called on INEC to take cognizance of different courts ruling on the role of the military elections and its readiness to deploy troops for the 2015 election. A party's campaign spokesman insisted that the only role assigned to the military by the military is to protect the territorial integrity of the country and not to determine if and when an election should hold. And now the federal government may defy the Court of Appeal judgment barring the use of soldiers in the conduct of elections in the country. A top government official gave an indication that President Goodluck Jonathan might order the deployment of soldiers for the March 28 and April 11 general elections. The official was responding to a question on what step the president will take on the letter written by the All Progressive Congress in which they call attention to the court order. He said there was no issue in the matter. Secretary State Governor Ayo Fachi had replied the APC on the matter. The Ekiti State Governor was quoted to have said Jonathan will continue to deploy soldiers for elections in the country. The governor had further said that the APC did not want the military to be involved in the elections in order to have the opportunity to perpetrate violence during the elections. Also, the special advisor to the president on the political matters, Rufai Al-Khali, confirmed the response of the top government official. He said military troops will be deployed to protect the lives and property of Nigerians before, during, and after the elections. You're also watching CoreTV News at 7. We'll take a break shortly. We'll be back with more stories after this time out. Please join us again.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical, women being so powerful yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
This is CoreTV News at 7, broadcasting live from our studios in Lagos. Join our social media platform, like our Facebook page is facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can as well follow us at CoreTV News NG. You can also log on to www.youtube.com/CoreTV/News for live streamings. And our lawyers across the country have described as unconstitutional and illegal the Niger State Governor's action, Babangida Aliyu, in handing over of state affairs to the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Adamu Ismail, instead of his Deputy Governor, Ahmed Ibeto, who recently decamped to the All Progressives Party. A human rights lawyer, Femi Falana, says Aliyu's action implies he is treating the government of the state as his party's affair. Falana described his action as unconstitutional and cited that the deputy of the state, as provided by the Constitution, should take over the affairs of the state in the stead and absence of the governor. Another Lagos-based lawyer, Festus Keyama, says the governor had flouted the provisions of the Constitution and had reduced the constitutional issues to a mere political affair. Also, activist and lawyer Jitiu Guye urged the people of Niger State and Nigerians at large to condemn the action of the governor, describing it as not permissible under the Nigerian Constitution. The Ekiti chapter of the All Progressive Congress has petitioned the National Human Rights Commission over alleged attacks on its members and supporters in Ekiti State by Governor Fauci and his loyalists. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Ben Igwe, while receiving a copy of the petition in Abuja, expressed shocked over the weighty allegations against the governor. He assured them that the allegations against the governor will be thoroughly investigated. The party alleged that with the current wave of attacks on its members in the state, free elections could not be guaranteed in the forthcoming polls if the trend was not checked. The APC alleged that Fauci's activities are undermining the peace pact recently signed by all presidential candidates. Earlier, the leader of the market women says that they will really look into the matter. Away from that now, as the general elections continue to draw near, the Independent National Electoral Commission has pressed on with efforts aimed at showing its readiness for the polls to Nigerians. While addressing the press in Lagos, resident Electoral Commissioner Akio Rebi charges Lagosians to come out to pick their PVCs. He, however, expressed confidence that the card reader will help eliminate all sorts of malpractices. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ajay's report is presented from our studios.
I think it's a new development, and from what we have had, the chairman of INEC telling Nigerians, he said it has been tested. But the problem here is just that the accreditation that they said will be done by the card reader, will it be more effective than the manual accreditation Nigerians are used to?
About the card reader is good, and I think it's a nice idea and it's welcome. Because we are developing and we are living in an IT world where everything is evolving very fast. I think it's a welcome idea and it's good, it's good.
The honest truth is that the whole world are moving forward, and the card reader is also part of a system of moving forward, and Nigeria can never go backwards.
Despite the mixed reactions of people and political parties on the use of smart card readers, Resident Electoral Commissioner for Lagos State, Akin Oribiyi, says he is confident that the machine will be very useful in accreditation process for the elections.
If in a particular polling unit, let us say 378 people come forward for accreditation, and anybody tries to hijack the boxes on the way and stuff whatever it likes inside there, and maybe forces people to change the figure, it doesn't matter. We already have the figure recorded in the smart card reader. We are configuring the smart card reader for this particular polling unit, first of all, for the card somebody has presented for demonstration.
For his part, clearing the air on the malfunctioning of the machine, he says it has been tested and will forestall any forms of elections irregularities.
So snatching of ballot boxes, wanting to rush them somewhere else. First of all, the serial numbers, when you really have to begin to count, will show. 2 is that they are color-coded. You cannot lump from one particular place with another one, from another place. So these are some of the measures also were put in place. And measure 3 now, the fact that even the party agents will follow us all along. I myself am not allowed to know the colors or the code until the morning when all of us with the party agents go to CBN together to collect these sensitive materials. The media will also give you that benefit to follow us.
He also gave this update on the collection of permanent voters' cards as of February 14th in Lagos State.
Number of permanent voters' cards distributed as at Saturday, February 14, is 3,619,640. 3,619,640. 3,619,640.
As Nigerians wait patiently for the conduct of the elections, these polls will put to test all the assurance given by the electoral umpire.
You're still watching CoreTV News at 7. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And outside Nigeria now, the US and UK are considering deeper sanctions against Russia following the recent events in the eastern Ukraine conflict. Speaking during a visit to London, US Secretary of State John Kerry accused Moscow of craven behavior in its support for the rebels, undermining a ceasefire. But the Kremlin spokesman said sanctions will not help solve Ukraine's crisis. The ceasefire agreed this month in Minsk has often seemed near collapse. Each side accuses the other of multiple breaches of the truce in recent hours. But the rebels announced a prisoner exchange as part of the ceasefire. Between 35 and 39 Ukrainian soldiers and 37 people held by the Ukrainian government are to be freed in the Luhansk region. Meanwhile, an advisor to Ukrainian President Yuri Birykova says the Ukrainian death toll in last week's battle for the key town of the Batsevia was possibly 179, with 81 missing, a much higher figure than previously announced. The rebels took the strategic transport hub in spite of the ceasefire signed on 12 February, arguing the truce did not apply to the flashpoint town, forcing government troops to retreat. The Ukrainian government, Western leaders, and NATO says there is clear evidence that Russia is helping the rebels in eastern Ukraine with heavy weapons and soldiers. Independent expert echoes that accusation. Moscow denies it, insisting that any Russians serving with the rebels are volunteers. Nearly 5,700 people have died since the fighting erupted last April, and some 1.5 million people have fled their homes, according to the UN. Speaking before talks with the UK Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond, Kerry said additional sanctions were on the agenda. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov responded by urging the US and Europe to support the implementation of the Minsk agreement. Well, and that's a wrap on CoreTV News at 7. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. Don't forget to join us at 9:45 p.m. for our primetime bulletin. Have a good evening.